As we proceed to the methods of separation of components of a mixture, we also have sedimentation and decantation. Sedimentation is the tendency for particles in suspensions to settle out of the liquid in which they are entangled and come to rest against a barrier. This is due to their motion through the fluid in response to the forces acting on them. What are these forces? These forces can be due to the gravity, centrifugation, acceleration, or electromagnetism. The picture shows the particles suspended in the water, which can be a suspension, which left undisturbed for a while settle down at the bottom of the beaker and in the process of sedimentation. Because being denser, heavier, the particles settle down at the bottom of the container. Decantation is a process for the separation of mixture by removing a layer of liquid, generally one from which a precipitate has settled. This also can be done after sedimentation. The undissolved solid or sediments can be left undisturbed and the liquid which is at the top slowly be poured to the another container or beaker. Loading. Loading is a process which speeds up the sedimentation. In fact, loading is a faster process as compared to sedimentation. The liquids to have impurities can be separated from its solid impurities by adding a crystal or some substances to it. Like for example, in picture, alum is added to the mixture which easily separates the muddy water or the mud particles and leaving behind clean water. Filtration is one of the other mechanical, physical, and biological operation that separates solid from fluids, liquids, or gases by adding a medium through which only the fluid can pass. The fluid that passes through is the filtrate. In physical filters, oversized solids in the fluid are retained, and in biological filters, particulates are trapped and ingested and metabolites are retained and removed. Filtration is commonly the mechanical or physical operation which is used for the separation of solids from the fluid by interposing a medium through which only the fluid can pass. Like for example, using a coffee filter is to separate the coffee flavor from the coffee beans. Distillation. Distillation is the process by which a mixture is separated by heating a solution and condensing using a cooling tube. The liquid collected is distillate. If fluids in a mixture are miscible, boil without decomposition, and possesses different boiling points, then they can be separated by distillation. Distillation involves simple distillation, fractional distillation, vapor distillation, and vacuum distillation. For fractional distillation, it is one of the other methods of separation commonly used to take out the various components of petroleum. In the process, a mixture of two or more miscible liquids or petroleum for which the differences in boiling point is less than 25 Kelvin, a distillation tower is used. Heating, boiling, and finally condensation of the vapors provide the various petroleum products. It is also the process whereby distilled water is produced and accessible in the market. Rainwater is a product of distillation only. Some medicines that has fish oil ingredients passes through double distillation. As said, gasoline, kerosene, diesel, petrol, fuel oil, and lubricating oil are the product from petroleum by distillation. Centrifugation or centrifuge is the process which separates a mixture based on the difference in densities. Amount of separation depends on the speed of centrifuge. Must be followed by filtration or decantation. It usually separates the colloidal solutions. Centrifugation also is used for the separation of suspensions by spinning them at high speeds. The spinning causes the heavier particles to settle at the bottom, leaving behind lighter particles at the top. Spin sample very rapidly result denser materials to go down to the bottom, and it involves this mixture separation like of blood to plasma and its serum or blood cells and so on. Paper chromatography. It is the simplest type of chromatography where a special type of paper called chromatographic paper or ordinary filter paper is used. The chromatography is based on Greek word chroma, which means color. This technique was first used for the separation of color, so this name was given. The process involves drawing a line near the bottom edge of the paper. The paper is dipped in a solvent, taken in a beaker so that the line drawn on the paper is above the level of the solvent. After a while, we can see that as solvent rises on the paper, it takes along with it the drop of the substance. The component of the drop which is more soluble rises fast, as in the picture, the yellow component. And we see various spots on the paper, each indicating a component of the mixture. The paper is then removed from the solvent and dried to take out the components. Separating funnel. A separating funnel is used for the separation of components of a mixture between two immiscible liquid phases. Definitely one phase is in the aqueous phase, another phase is an organic solvent. The separation is based on the basis of difference in the densities of the liquid. It is usually used to separate a mixture of oil and water. The oil can be kerosene oil, petrol, diesel, etc. So we have discussed the various methods of separation of components of mixture on the basis of their physical properties, as the mixtures are formed as a result of physical changes. So physical methods help us to get the original components of the mixture. In our next class, we will study physical and chemical changes. Physical changes which result in formation of mixtures, chemical changes which result in formation of compounds or pure substances. With this, we will proceed in our next class. Thank you.